It's been a while since we've podcasted, isn't it?
You're listening to the Theology of Games podcast, your source for gaming news, reviews, and interviews with the top voices in the industry. Find us online at theologyofgames.com. And now, here are your hosts, Scott Firestone and Jeremiah Isley.
What day? What year is it? Jeremiah.
Yeah.
We overslept.
We
You're not
did
going to
what?
believe this. It has been a year since we podcasted.
A year?
I can only assume some kind of Rip Van Winkle thing has happened to us.
But I still don't have hair.
Nor do I. Hey, I'm Scott Firestone.
And I'm Jeremiah Isley.
And we are Theology of Games, and we are back with a podcast.
The way you said that, we are Theology of Games, it's almost like we're a band.
Yeah.
But
I'm the drummer.
Oh, okay. Do you play drums?
You're a drummer. No, I don't at all.
I mean, play drums and guitar and bass. But you can sing,
what
right?
Am I, Yoko? Am I Yoko?
I think you might be.
Okay.
Anyway.
So we are back with a podcast. And,
yes, we are.
We're going to talk to you guys for like an hour, and it's just going to be fun and news and reviews and things from the board gaming world. And we're going to start off with some game news that we just found out about.
Let's just jump right in. It's game news time.
It's game news time.
Yeah.
So Mage Knight, Jeremiah and I are both pretty big fans of the game Mage Knight.
Yeah, it's pretty sweet.
Vlada Chvata? I'm totally butchering his name.
Yep.
But anyway, Mage Knight is a great game. It's a great solo game even, and there are very few of those. But apparently someone has taken that core mechanism of Mage Knight, and they are creating a Star Trek game out of it. So the same kind of exploration. Okay.
That's a mistake. It should be.
You think so?
It should be Star Wars, not Star Trek.
Well,
I mean, I'm just saying.
There's not that much exploration in Star Wars, though.
Well,
as a core piece of the mythos,
it's true. But
Star Trek is a 5-year mission to explore blah 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 and other things that I don't remember because I don't watch it that often. But so this could be cool or this could be terrible. We don't know yet.
If it was Star Wars, it'd be a slam dunk. But I guess it could be cool.
I'm certainly more of a Star Trek or a Star Wars fan than I am a Star Trek fan, but I think it could be interesting. The thing that's keeping me a little nervous, is that WizKids, who publishes Mage Knight and HeroClix and all those, is also going to be doing this new game, and they are taking a little heat for the latest Mage Knight expansion.
Oh, really?
It is called Shades of Tesla. It just came out within the last month or so, and apparently the production quality on it is awful.
Really?
There are cards that aren't the same size as the other ones.
Oof.
They're certainly not the same quality.
I wonder how Vlada feels about that.
According to the Geek, he had nothing to do with the design of this. So I think again it was someone taking his core mechanism and going, someone that works with him, obviously. But
right.
So the cards are bad. The tokens are not the same size as the tokens from the other expansions in the base game, so they're noticeably different sizes. And I'm trying to think. There are other problems, but basically, WizKids, it seems, is not keeping up on the quality control front with this game. So people are wondering, are they going to do the same thing with the Star Trek game?
And weren't they, when they did the attack wing, weren't those ships kind of suspect as well? I never actually put my hands on them, but
I picked up a box in a store and laughed out loud, and somebody looked at me weird, and the paint job alone was just laughable. It was like somebody just doing a minimal amount of effort for their job. And I understand they're getting probably paid pennies, but literally pennies. But the paint job was terrible. the scale was all off. So you'd have the Enterprise would be minuscule compared to a Romulan ship that was supposed to be the same size, and the Borg cube was just about the same size as those. It was so bizarre, and it is no wonder that did not take off like the Star Wars one did. Not just because it was Star Trek and not Star Wars, but
there's that. But yeah, I heard it was pretty rough. I mean, not to beat up whiz kids, but come on, guys. Step up your game just a little bit, you know?
Yeah. And the problem is, so, hey, I love Mage Knight. I'm going to buy the expansion. Well, if enough people do that, then they go, there's no reason for us to keep up quality control because, look, we sold out of this print run.
Yeah,
so
but
I don't know what I'm going to do.
You got to think eventually it's going to catch up with them. People want quality stuff, and that gets rewarded in the industry, at least in my experience.
Yeah, the thing I am afraid of is that people will go, oh man, they really screwed up that expansion, so I'm not going to buy it. And then from WizKids' viewpoints, well, Mage Knight's played out. Nobody wanted to buy that expansion. Let's not make any more.
Right.
We're all going, no, make more. I'll buy it. Just
That's
don't
right.
make it crappy.
Just check yourself before you wreck yourself.
Right.
I mean, it's just words to live by.
Are we going back to being a band? Is that what's happening?
I was trying to throw that back in there, but you know.
Oh, okay.
Anyway, so yeah, I think they just need to. Hopefully, they'll get hip to the buzz that's out there of this production quality kind of being suspect, and hopefully correct some of that. And with this new Star Trek version of Mage Knight. And
it could be cool.
I hope it's just not a total, just kind of reskinning. I hope they really make it thematically work if there needs to be adjustments to the game. Because, I mean, Mage Knight, the game is super, super cool. But you would hope that there was tweaks and changes made along the lines to make that work within a space exploration type of setting. So I suppose time will only tell.
I'll sure check it out, and we'll let you guys know when it comes out.
Excellent.
Now, Jeremiah, you were lucky enough to go to Origins this year.
I was, and...
Do you want to tell us about it?
Boy, do I ever. I've been waiting. It's been a couple months now. But, no, Origins was great. I actually got to spend a couple days there. Usually, Origins, it's in Columbus. It's about a 2-hour drive for me, so typically I go for like a day. And just kind of pack everything that I can into one day. But this year I was able to go down for a couple days, and I took the boys down for part of a day, and we had a good time. And there was so many cool things that happened there. Usually it seems like Origins is right before Gen Con, so sometimes you don't always see like the cool releases and things like that come out at Origins because they kind of are holding on to them. But there were some pretty cool things that I got to get a peek at Origins this year. I got to sit down with Michael Coe of Gamelin Games, and I periscoped that. That's on our YouTube channel now. But we got to play the expansion to Tiny Epic Kingdoms, which is a great game. If you haven't played it, I suggest you pick up a copy. It's really cool, and the expansion's great. It adds another resource. It adds heroes, which give you another way to cause in condition and score points. And we had a great time with that. I sat down and played with Michael and with Patrick from Crash Games, and it was a really good time. And they had a what's the word I'm looking for? The advanced copy of Tiny Epic Galaxies, which I got to play. I got a hold of a prototype. I love that game. It's really, really fun. But holy moly, the new, like the finished product, the artwork and the cards, and it looks super, super slick. So I think that's been shipping recently to backers. I've seen pictures of it out there.
Oh, wow, I didn't realize it was already out.
I think they're getting out there. So hopefully there will be some copies in the mail to us very soon, because I really can't wait to play that game again in its full glory of the final. It's been a while since we've podcasted, isn't it?
The finish.
Here. The final product is going to be pretty awesome.
Nice.
Who else did I talk to? I talked to Cassidy and Ray of Calliope Games, who are doing Calliope Games is responsible for publishing Suro and Suro of the Seas, which are very cool games. But they are the ones that did. It's like a 12-game Kickstarter project, that Titan series, and I got to see a couple. Pretty much, basically, a rundown of the mechanics of a few of the games. One is a bit of a drafting sort of resource management game. Another's a dice roller by Paul Peterson of Smash Up fame. And it was great. They brought me in an hour before the exhibit hall opened, and there was just a couple of us sitting at the table. Unfortunately, I wasn't allowed to take pictures of anything because there really wasn't much to take pictures of. But trust me, those games are going to be cool. It's kind of a weird Kickstarter because you don't really know what you're backing. It's not like, hey, this is the game we want you to back. But they were, they've gathered this stable of epic Titan type game designers and said, we're going to put together a set of gateway games. And they're really cool. The ones that I saw, I was really impressed with, and so hopefully there's just more to come from that. That'll be very impressive as well.
Nice.
Yeah. And I also got to visit with Yellow Games. It's pronounced Yellow, not ILO as it's spelled, but Yellow. And you'll note that everything is yellow at their booth too. But they announced, or they actually released at Origins 3 games: Pingo Pingo, Master Fox, and Welcome to the Dungeon, all introduced at Origins, which was awesome. And they're all very different games, but they're all really, I was pretty impressed with all of them. Actually, I wrote my review of Pingo Pingo. You can go to theologyofgames.com to read that. And it's a crazy party, run around your house, like literally get up out of your seat and run around your house kind of game.
It sounded super fun from your review.
It is, and I've played it with grown-ups, I've played it with gamers, with my kids obviously, and everybody is just like, this game is nuts, but it's fun. So it's a lot of fun. And then the other stuff that they released too was really cool. Master Fox is fun because it's a dexterity game, but it comes with blindfolds, and you're trying to find different shapes and pieces, like in this chicken coop kind of thing. And there are all these big wooden bits that you're trying to fumble around in the dark to get, and you could get like things that are bad and explode, or things that are good. And it was kind of cool and interesting. And then I guess I'll stop my Origins rant with Tuesday Night Games, who finally at Gen Con released Two Rooms and a Boom, finally. Yay! Which is super cool. I've also written a review of that. Go to theologyofgames.com to find out about all these games we're talking about. But they they were demoing and playing in the rooms and showing at their booth their next project, which is World Championship Russian Roulette. And it's this crazy bluffing, bidding game of Russian roulette. You're playing as a team from different countries, or I don't know how they're going to sort out, what you're from or whatever, but it's a world championship, and you're trying to, you can bluff and not put a bullet in your gun, or you can leave it in there and try to do, and try to guess how many times you can pull the trigger before it goes off. And it's another, not as large of a party game as Two Rooms and a Boom, but it's pretty big, and it's a lot of fun. I've actually had a chance to play with Alan and see it kind of progress as he's play tested and developed it and everything. So that's pretty exciting. Dropper. I know, right? Yeah.
No, that's cool.
Me schmoozing with the gaming folks. Yes. So yeah, Origins overall, like I said, it was really fun to see a lot of new stuff hit at Origins instead of just say, oh, well, here's the demo of it and you can buy it at Gen Con. A lot of games came out and you could get them there. Spyfall sold out. I tried to get a copy of it. It's sold out.
Have you played it yet?
I have played it. It's great. I loved it.
It is super fun.
We literally could not stop playing. We would just go, okay, let's do one more. Okay, well, one more. It just kept going and going and going. It was so much fun. And then I think, did Elysium release at Origins? I'm trying to remember. I don't know. I know it was there. I don't know if it released there, but that sold out. You couldn't get a copy of that either. And I got there on Friday, so it had only been a day into the convention, and you couldn't get it.
That's crazy.
So, yeah.
Well, speaking of conventions,
yes,
we are going to try super duper hard to both make it to Gen Con next year.
Both
of us.
Jeremiah
was able to go last year.
I was.
And
it's mind-boggling.
I live in Colorado, so it is not easy for me to even just hop in a car and drive there. So it is a big deal to have to be able to go to one of these conventions, and I just haven't been able to make it. But this year, I guess next year, we are seriously going to try super hard to both get to Gen Con for the whole time and just blow the doors off that thing.
Maybe we'll start a GoFundMe campaign to make this dream a reality.
Maybe we will.
Send us to Gen Con so we can both be there. I unfortunately, I had plans to go to Gen Con, and then some stuff fell through and I wasn't able to go, and there were a lot of conflicts schedule-wise on my end, and I was pretty devastated because last year it was incredible, and I heard it was even better this year. So Gen Con, we missed you, but we'll be back. Well, I'll be back. Hopefully Scott will be there again.
I'm sure
for the first time. So yeah, super awesome. I love conventions. They're a lot of fun. I love
so many people.
Yeah.
I'm a massive introvert, and crowds make me nervous. So I'm like, what? Why am I going to pay a bunch of money to be uncomfortable and scared? But I'm still going to do it.
Well, the cool thing is that having gone to several of these now, as a blogger, as a podcaster, as whatever, it's cool to see people and catch up with them. Like, the community is so strong, and it's a bunch of really great people. So I've started to really enjoy that. It's not just, hey, I'd like to meet you and check out the games that you're demoing. It's, hey, how's it going? What are you doing? It's more of this family friendly kind of thing going on.
Right.
Are you peeing? I hear like water.
Oh no, I'm in my basement.
Yeah.
And the dishwasher apparently is running, and so occasionally it drains down the pipes into my unfinished basement.
There you go.
And that's not a euphemism. I'm actually in an unfinished basement. So yeah. So
excellent.
Pardon the occasional tinkling sound, but it's just yeah.
Yeah. Alrighty then.
Okay, so now we're going to talk about things that have been on the table.
Yes.
Some real games that we've gotten on real table.
This is our On the Table segment, everybody. Welcome to the On the Table segment.
Pull up a chair and let's talk about stuff we've been playing.
Yes.
Jeremiah, what have you been playing?
Oh, what have I been playing? I get to go first?
Sure.
Okay. Well, since the last time we podcasted,
4,000 games.
Yes, it's been a lot. But
recently.
Recently, I got a finished copy of Dead Drop, which is a Jason Kotarski game, and it's awesome. It's great. They put in 3 complete. Basically, you get 3 copies of the game, because there's 13 cards or 14 cards or some very small number of cards. So you actually get 3 different sets with different artwork of the game. So if one set wears out, you can play with another one. But I've been playing with some teenagers, and they're just eating it up. They love it. It's just a fun game that you can learn really quick and have a lot of fun with. So I've been playing a lot of that and playing a lot of Suro as well, which is great. I'm playing. My boys love it. They think it's fun. The tiles are cool with the different paths you can take, and they think it's funny as all get out when the dragons collide and die. Sometimes they actually go for that, even if it means they lose. But it's been really fun too. And the last two, I guess I'll mention for now, King of New York, which we just reviewed on the site, and it is so cool. I loved King of Tokyo, and I couldn't believe how much better they made the game. It seemed really, really hard to do, and I was like, yes, that is super awesome. And I just got a prototype from Jason Kotarski. It's a Matt Wolf game, if I'm recalling correctly. Yep. Avalanche at Yeti Mountain, which I've only played it once, maybe twice, and it seems pretty cool. It's a little lightweight kind of race game, and you're being chased by this Yeti down a mountain while you've got a jetpack on. So can't really go wrong there.
I have not played my copy yet.
No. I have a couple of rules questions because I don't want to get into it too much yet, but I like died on my first turn, which was no fun for me.
That seems like a misread of the rules.
Yeah, and my boys laughed at me, or just like a really, really bad tactical decision to start the game. So,
right.
Yeah.
All right.
So what's been on your table?
Well, in addition to King of New York, as you did, we finally, I've had that for a while actually, and just never got it to the table, and then finally did, and the kids loved it, and it's a great evolution of the game.
Yes.
Pandemic: The Cure
is
still very popular. My youngest loves that game, and we have not played Pandemic since we got Pandemic: The Cure.
Really?
I'm not sure if I'm prepared to say it's better, but it might be, because
nice.
I don't know. I'm usually not a huge dice fan, but the dice in this add enough uncertainty that you're not able to just plan out, oh, well, this is going to happen and that's going to happen. You can kind of do that, but then you have to roll those dice, and they may hose you and they may not, and it's just really exciting and fun, and the kids love it.
That's cool. That's very cool.
And then we've been playing a lot of Elysium at game night. I got a copy, I don't know, a couple of months ago, and just been playing it a lot. It's a solid card game with this really cool mechanism where you have these columns in front of you, and when you take a card, you have to get rid of one of your columns, and you need those columns to be able to buy other cards. So you have to think about which column should I get rid of, and which my opponents are getting rid of, and it's just a really neat. Every single turn is that kind of a puzzle and angst, like, oh, I don't know which one to get rid of.
Yeah.
So it's really cool, and the artwork is amazing.
Yeah, I've heard really good things about it. I haven't actually had a chance to put my hands on it or, actually play it, but everything, the buzz about it is pretty magnificent.
And we have a review at theologyofgames.com, so check it out.
Yes.
So that's what's been on our tables.
Yeah, it's been a year's worth, so...
Right, there's been other stuff, but we're just going to focus on the recent, and with all faith say, it will not be another year before our podcast.
That's very true. We really hope. So what is our next segment? What shall we talk about next?
Let's talk about Fire and Ice. Fire and Ice and Ice.
Are we back to the band thing?
Apparently.
I guess so.
This is going to be a really crummy band. We're not good.
We're not. As much as I play instruments and stuff, I am not a singer. So, yeah. So anyway...
If you're unfamiliar with this...
Yeah, why don't we explain that?
One of our readers... Oh my gosh, I'm blanking on his name.
Alden Schoenberg?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, I was thinking about him today because I was listening to one of our older podcasts in preparation for this one, and I was like, man, we haven't heard from Alden. So,
We haven't.
hey, if you are out there,
Yeah.
give us a ring.
Hit us up.
Leave a comment, because you were one of our first people that kind of interacted with us, and we totally appreciate that. And he gave us this great bit called Fire and Ice. So my name is Firestone, and Jeremiah's name is Isley, so Fire and Ice. And it's a game that's on fire for us that we're really hot about right now, and then one that we're kind of ice cold about that's either we didn't like as much as we thought or has fallen in our estimation or whatever. So This is the Fire and Ice segment of the show.
Let's do it.
Let's do it.
You go first. So
okay.
this is the fire section. So
Fire.
we're both going to talk about games that are flaming hot. They're just burning off the table.
This one is hot, but difficult to get. So I apologize
Way
in
to
advance
go.
for that.
You would.
No, but it's really fun. If you can get your hands on it. It's called Looney Quest. So there's a game that's called Doodle... What?
Nothing.
Oh. I just said Doodle really loud. Doodle Quest is another game by the same company. And it's this... it's a little square game board.
Yeah.
And everyone has their own square piece of plastic, clear plastic. What am I trying to say?
A cube?
Yeah, it's just clear plastic that you can draw with dry erase markers.
Okay.
So you look at the square game board, and the object is you're trying to hit every bubble on this thing, let's say.
Okay.
And so on your own game board, you have 30 seconds to do this, and there are penalties if you miss and things like that. So, and then everyone overlays their clear plastic thing on the board, and you see how you scored. So it's kind of interesting. Doodle Quest is the one that came to the States, and then apparently they had some kind of agreement where Looney Quest would only be sold outside of the United States, over in Europe specifically.
Okay.
So I had heard that it is arguably better than Doodle Quest by quite a bit. It's more of a video game kind of theme with Looney Quest, and so before it got popular, I was able to hop onto Amazon.de, which is the German version of Amazon, and get one for reasonably priced. I can't.
You're such a
what?
nerd.
I am a nerd.
Yeah.
But hey, I got Looney Quest because. So right after I got my copy, then like all these other websites started posting reviews and talking about it, and the price skyrocketed, and they're out of the print run, and they won't send to the States, and so it's really hard to get right now. But if you can get your hands on a copy of Looney Quest, my kids and I love this game. It is, I think there are 6 different kind of video game levels.
Okay.
So each level kind of has a different theme. One's a water one, one's a sand one, one's a jungle theme, and each of them have 6 different progressions. So you'll do one of the boards, and it might be firing bullets at people still on your own board and then overlaying it on the other one. And then there are penalties if you miss, or you might need to circle things, but it's kind of this video game theme, and each of them gets progressively harder. And then there's a boss battle on the last one.
Everybody loves a boss battle.
It's super fun. It's so great. And we just play it all the time, and my kids love it. And we've only gotten through the second level, and we're still just having a blast. We haven't even gotten any further than that.
Nice.
So Looney Quest is on fire in the Firestone household. It's so fun. If you can get your hands on a copy for reasonably priced, do it.
It's interesting how, why would they not send that to the States? What's the deal with that?
I don't know. And
they
having
don't
played
want
both,
money.
it is better. Yeah, they had some kind of agreement, and I don't understand why. Well, we'll send the crappy one to the States, and yeah, I just don't understand why they would even do that.
Yeah.
But Looney Quest is, in my opinion, better than Doodle Quest. I wouldn't even get Doodle Quest.
Don't even mess with the doodle.
Nope.
All right. Words to live by.
What's on fire for you?
What really is on fire, and I might be a little redundant, but King of New York. We have just had a blast with King of New York. It almost makes King of Tokyo feel like it was a beta version, like it was here's a working version of what we're hoping to do. Man, they fleshed it out so well. I love that we can destroy buildings now, and then the military comes after you when you destroy stuff, and everything makes so much more sense thematically in a sense.
I agree.
And there are more ways to grab points that aren't just arbitrary. Like, hey, I rolled 3 threes, so I get 3 points. Well, what? There's something to gaining points now. And your decisions are just more interesting because all 6 sides of the dice do something now instead of just, like I said, arbitrarily handing out points for some reason.
Well, and it wasn't just that. It wasn't like it was harder to roll a 3.
Right.
You had just as much chance of rolling in 3 threes as 3 ones.
Exactly.
So if I roll 3 threes and you throw 3 ones,
I'm ahead
of you by 2. That's just awful.
Yeah. And playing King of Tokyo, I never really minded it that much. But then when you play King of New York, you're like, what was I thinking?
Right.
This is so much better. So yeah, we've loved it. The boys they want to play it all the time, and we've just had a blast with it. And it was surprisingly, especially because we knew King of Tokyo, it was so surprisingly easy to learn. Because we knew half of it, and then we just had to learn.
The core mechanisms are the same.
Yeah, everything was there. It was just, there's some new things that the dice do now. So that made it super easy to learn. The learning curve on it was super fast. So we've been enjoying it, and it is way easier to get than Looney Quest. So
touche, my friend.
You don't have to go to a .de website.
Hey, don't be bagging on German Amazon. I've bought many a thing from there. And
anyway,
I agree with you. The only thing I miss is special powers, but I know those are coming. They have to be.
Yeah.
And so once that happens, oh my goodness, I can't wait.
It really only makes sense that they're going to expand it, and they're going to add in more special powers and bring it up to what they had kind of grown King of Tokyo into. So I'm not too worried about that. It's just a matter of picking up that expansion when it comes.
So what about your ice?
Well, it might again seem redundant, but we have not even thought twice about playing King of Tokyo now. Like I just said, it just seems, why go back? I love the power-up expansion, like we were just talking about. Special powers are cool and all that, but for what you gain with the base of King of New York, I don't really see a reason to play King of Tokyo at this point. Maybe if I was trying to teach somebody the game and I wanted to step them up to King of New York, maybe, but King of Tokyo seems to have been made obsolete by the release of King of New York. So I'm kind of cold on it right now. I should say, too, that I'm equally on fire about the sweet Broken Token insert for King of New York that I got.
Yes.
That thing is so cool. We've written a review about Broken Token inserts, but they're so awesome. They're really cool. And I love that it gives the little tray that comes out. It's like a little box that comes out of the insert, and you just pull the lid off, and you can actually use it in gameplay. So cool. Really, really awesome.
It's not just an organizer. It's like, let's talk about how they actually play the game and then how we can make that more useful.
Yeah, because let's be honest, we've all lost those little green power cubes at some point because the pile's been knocked or whatever. But now they're in this little box that just sits right next to the game board, and it's really, really awesome. So, yeah, thumbs up on that too. But yeah, thumbs down on King of Tokyo because I'd rather play New York. How about you?
For me, it is a game that I liked when I first played it, but in subsequent plays, I realized I don't think I like it anymore.
Oh.
And it's a very popular game. It's called Dead of Winter.
Wow.
Yeah, it is super popular.
It is.
They just can constantly sell out of their print runs.
They do.
If you find a copy, like, snatch it up if you like that kind of game, because it's already. I mean, the prices skyrocket, and there's supply and demand problems, and which is great for them. Plaid Hat games are great. I love them.
Yep.
But so I played Dead of Winter probably a year ago or so. One of our guys that went to Origins picked it up, and so I liked it, and I thought, oh, this is fun. I really like this, and it's shorter than Battlestar Galactica, and there's some neat mechanisms in it.
Right.
But as I've played more and more, I like it less and less there, and I think there's some serious problems in it for me anyway. Like, have you played it?
I have not.
Okay.
So you're ruining it for me.
No, well, it needs to be ruined. So basically the game is kind of monotonous. Like, you move, and then you roll, and then you hope. Or you kill, and you roll, and you hope. Because one of the mechanisms is, every time you move, you have to roll this dice to see if you get exposure or bit or turn into a zombie.
Right.
And it's just, there's not a whole lot you can do unless you have a special power of your character to keep that from happening. So it's just a bunch of, oh, I hope this turns out good on this roll. And you're just doing that the whole game. Oh, I hope this turns out. Oh, I hope this turns out. And it's just not that engaging. And there are other times where you just want to roll high, and there's not much you can do to affect it. Just roll high.
Gotcha.
So, and there are secret objectives. One of them could be that you're a trader. And if that's true, it is a super cakewalk for the trader, in my opinion. In every game that there's been a trader, it is so easy for them to win because the game is already really hard. They don't have to try that hard to sabotage it.
Uh-huh.
So you're already fighting really hard, and then it's like, I didn't even have to do anything, and you guys lost. Ha ha ha. How is that fun for you as a trader? And the secret objectives, like, some people get ones where they really have to struggle and fight the whole game and hide things and lie and do things so that if they win, then they obtain their secret objective. And then other people's secret objective just happens naturally through the course of the game. It's like, oh, get 3 characters. Oh, I was already going to get 3 characters or whatever. So the secret objectives are super swingy and unbalanced, and some people are fighting the whole game to get them, and some people don't have to do anything and they get them. And it's just... I like the game. I'm really conflicted about this because when I'm playing it, I enjoy it. But then, just in retrospect, and during the game, it's just like, oh, this game is not very good. It's not polished. It's not.
Yeah.
It feels like a first game in the series. The whole mechanism of the crossroads cards, I love. And I don't know if you're familiar with it. It's when you start your turn, the person to your left, I think, left or right, picks up a crossroads card and reads it, and there's some kind of condition on there.
Sure.
And if during the course of your turn that condition is triggered, then they read something, and there's usually some kind of decision to be made, and it can change the course of the game. It's really fun, and I like that a lot.
Yeah, I think that's been the intriguing thing for me is, like, I'll see somebody post it, they're playing on Twitter or whatever, and they're like, oh, we just left a kid behind. I'm like, what? That's crazy.
Yeah.
Like, it's this intense kind of decision-making, moral decisions and choices kind of thing.
Some of them are super tough. You're like, do we kill that guy? Because he's, it's just, it creates so many interesting decisions. But it's not in a good game. So they are planning, apparently the next one is going to be a Crossroads game in space.
Oh.
And I hope that they fix some of these things that I perceive as problems. I can't be the only one who sees these as problems.
Right.
Because I really feel like they're real, genuine problems.
Yeah.
So I hope they fix some of these things and they don't just make it like, oh, Dead Space, like the video game Dead Space where there are zombies in space and Crossroads things. Like, no, let's make it more interesting.
Yeah,
But I'm really looking forward to see what they do with it. But for now, I went from actively looking for a copy to I don't even care anymore if I ever get a copy because it's just not that good a game.
It's too bad.
Yeah.
It's too bad.
Sorry. I still like you Plaid Hat games a lot.
Yeah. Mice and Mystics is pretty sweet.
Yes,
So,
I agree.
yeah.
That's a great game.
And I've heard Dead of Winter is great, but,
And
not what you're telling me.
well, I'm not the end-all be-all.
That's
but
true. I
play it and
do
see if I'm not
tend
right.
to disagree.
Well, yeah, that's true. You'll probably love it and think it's the best thing ever. Game of the year. Wow. We are
Yeah.
conflicted.
Big surprise.
All right, so that is Fire and Ice.
There it is. Fire.
Ice. And now we have fill in the blank.
Yeah. Which one do you want to do last? Do you want to do that, or do you want to?
Yeah, let's do fill in the blank next.
Okay. So let's do fill in the blank. This is fill in the blank. It's fill in the blank. We're going to fill in the
blank.
There it is. We
Wow.
we could make a fortune on Fiverr just creating jingles for people's podcasts.
Yeah, impromptu jingle. We're your men.
We got it. We got it on lockdown.
You'll probably want somebody else to sing them, but
Yeah, maybe not. I don't know.
I mean, we're not terrible.
It's the lo-fi sound that all these kids are awesome about.
Yeah, we're like Jack Whites.
Hey, so I just tweeted out as we were starting. Hey, want to ask us questions on our podcast? We're recording right now. Tweet at us, yo. And Scott Martell asked us, where has the podcast been? The podcast has been sleeping. No. Do we want to talk about that real quick?
We can, yeah.
Yeah. So the podcast has been something that we definitely love doing, but there's a lot of, I guess, barriers to kind of come across. There's a 2-hour time difference. I live in Ohio. Scott lives in Colorado. We have to figure out a way to record it and make it sound good and make it listenable for you guys. And then there's, Theology of Games is I guess more of a, I don't want to say just a hobby, but it's a labor of love. And sometimes it is, I guess, a labor. And so sometimes all we can do is write, and we don't have the time to actually put together an hour or two for us to sit down and do some recording. So I guess that's kind of on my side how I've seen it. It's been hard to keep it up and running. We're doing our best, and we're doing our best to get YouTube back up and running and Periscope up and running.
Yeah, I mean, it's just the two of us, so we totally understand. There are some of our favorite websites have been like putting out calls for writers and things like that, and I understand that because it's really hard for just the two of us to play games, write reviews, shoot videos, do a podcast, and all these things that we
by the way,
want to do.
Stay up on all the news in the industry and the 18 million board game Kickstarter campaigns.
Not an exaggeration, not hyperbole.
Right.
Yeah, so, and we want to do those things. It's not like we feel obligated to do them, but at the same time, it's like, we also have families, and we also have jobs, and we also have, church activities and all these different things. So sometimes this low-hanging fruit just is, we can't do it. So the podcast has been something that, almost every month we're like, man, we got to find a time to podcast.
Yeah.
And
it's usually,
we just kept saying it. And
it's usually like every 3 to 4 weeks. We're like, dude, when are we going to podcast? Oh yeah, we'll do that soon. And then 3 or 4 weeks go by. Dude, when are we going to podcast? It's like insert conversation 27-B right here, about the podcast. But we're doing our best, and hopefully we'll see this crank back up. Fall's coming around, and school schedules and that sort of thing get us back in a better groove.
Yeah, and we like doing it, and it only takes an hour to record, so we really are going to try and plug that in there. So, and we're trying to work out the sound problems. I know in the last couple of episodes, actually quite a few of them, we've had some sound issues, and we're trying to work through those. We appreciate you being patient with us on that. We are doing the best we can, and we're going to try and work through these problems, be regular, and thanks for sticking with us.
Yeah. And thanks for tweeting questions at us, because that's pretty awesome. Scott Martell.
Are you gonna reply to him and let him know that he has to listen now because we answered his question?
Oh, that's a good idea. I'm doing it right now.
Okay.
So you talk while I do this.
Hey, everybody in podcast land. Jeremiah's tweeting to some other guy named Scott that's not me. And we're going to have the fill in the blank, which is where we just ask each other questions. And at the end, there's a blank, and we fill it. For instance, I'm going to ask Jeremiah this question right here.
Okay, ask me. I just sent it.
Okay.
I'm good.
If you had to stick with only one LCG from now on, it would be blank. We are both big LCG fans.
We are.
As the years have gone by, like, we keep adding more, and oh, that's a good one, that's a good one, that's a good one. So it's getting to a point where I'm feeling overwhelmed by them. So I thought, hey, what if we had to just pick one going forward, one LCG?
If we had to pick just one, well, here, let me just quickly recap. Well, I'll give you my answer, and then I'll say why. How's that? If I had to stick with only one LCG from now on, it would be Lord of the Rings, the card game. Being I play that, I have Star Wars, the card game, and I've got Warhammer Conquest, which is a lot of fun. And those are the three that I actually own. I've played some of the other ones, and I'd like to get Android Netrunner. But I would stick with Lord of the Rings because some of the other ones are just two-player. It's hard for me sometimes to get a two-player, deep, heavy two-player game on the table, so they don't get played as much that often. And one of my favorite genres is co-op games. So Lord of the Rings is not only an LCG, which is really sweet and I really like. It's also co-op. And so my gaming group loves it. We eat it up, and we love going through the quests. I love how there's a cycle of quests, so it has that kind of like that RPG campaign feel to it, that we're kind of working through a campaign. So to me, it still stands up to a lot of LCGs.
Cool.
So, Firestone, if you had to stick with only one LCG from now on, what would it be?
Well, I play Lord of the Rings as well.
Yes.
I also have quite a few Netrunner cards.
Yeah.
I have a number of Warhammer Conquest.
Mm-hmm.
And I've started dabbling in Doomtown Reloaded.
Ah.
The reboot of Doomtown.
Yeah.
I only have the base set in one of the expansion packs right now.
Okay.
But like I said, I'm just feeling overwhelmed. Like, oh, I cannot keep up with all these. And
right.
If I do, I won't be playing any other games or buying any other games.
Yes.
So, anyway, I would probably stick with Lord of the Rings as well. It's great. The quests are so varied. I mean, at the end of the day, if you're playing Netrunner, it's super fun, and I like that it's asymmetrical.
Yeah.
But it's always the same kind of thing going on. You might see different cards, but the runner is always trying to hit you, and you're always trying to keep him out.
Yeah.
And in Doomtown, you're always trying to protect your property, and there's going to be some showdowns.
Right.
But with Lord of the Rings, they have these quests where the main mechanism of monsters coming out is often the same, but the quests are totally varied about what you're trying to accomplish and where you're trying to get. And
you're trying to get to a location to find an item, and then you're trying to find a person that comes out and protect them and keep them alive, and it doesn't matter if some of your guys get bloodied up. Yeah, I agree.
It just feels different than the others, and room for more varied quests and things like that. So I think I would stick with Lord of the Rings as well.
That's a fine choice.
Thank you, sir.
All right, let's fill in this blank. The best game I discovered this summer was...
Probably, I'm not sure it's the best, but it was certainly the one that surprised me the most, and it was Spyfall.
Such a good game.
I didn't expect it to be as fun as it was. It's kind of stressful for me because if you're not familiar with it, it's a game. There are a bunch of different decks that are in different places. So one might be an amusement park, and one might be a hospital, and one might be a police station. and everybody is there, and everybody knows where you are except for the spy.
Except for the spy.
The spy is trying to figure out where everyone is. And the whole mechanism of the game is you're going around and asking questions to each other. So I would say, hey, Jeremiah, it's an awfully nice day out today, isn't it? And you would have to answer, and you're trying to answer, if you know where you are, you're trying to answer in such a way that you let me know, I'm one of the good guys, I know where we are, but I'm not giving away so much information that the spy will know where we are. And if you're the spy, you are in trouble because you're trying to figure out, I need to give a generic answer here so they don't suss me out as the spy, but I don't know where they are. And so the spy is trying to figure out where they are, and at a point they can go, oh, I think we're in the amusement park. And the other people are trying to guess who the spy is, and at any point they can go, okay, I think that guy's the spy, and then you vote on it and things like that. And it's fun, and the questions you can ask are so interesting, and it is totally not everyone's game because it's just different.
It really isn't. Like I loved it too. We played it a ton the first time that I played it, but it was great because it is so. It makes people paranoid in a way. Like they're trying to prove, like, no, I'm the good guy. I'm one of the good guys. But at the same time, they're trying not to give too much away. Like we had an instance where we were in a casino, and somebody asked another player, they're like, "What's your favorite color?" And the person that was asked goes, "Black," and the spy totally blew it. Goes, "Black? That's ridiculous!" Like just kind of gave this black, and everyone was like, "Ding, spy!" Because if you were in a casino, it made total sense.
Right.
But, trying to play that like, oh, I know what's going on, and then it totally backfired. So it was all those great little moments of, oh, what do I say? How do I ask it? How do I say it? It is really a cool game.
Yep.
I really enjoy it.
That was my summer surprise.
Your summer surprise.
So what was the best game you discovered this summer?
It is a toss-up. I'm almost tempted to say Spyfall myself because I don't know that I've played a new game this summer that I wanted to just play again and again and again and again. Mm-hmm. I've played games this summer that I've played a lot of, but those were kind of discovered, over the winter or whatnot. But Spyfall was it was so much fun. I'm gonna make it my game too. I'm gonna say it's Spyfall because it was legit.
It is between printings right now because it's so popular.
Yeah.
So do not pay more than retail. It will come back into print. Don't worry. I think Cryptozoic is printing it.
I believe they are. Yeah.
So seriously, don't overpay for that game. But it's well worth paying retail for it because it's super fun.
Yeah, it's very cool. And like I think you were right though. There may be certain gaming groups that are like, dude, I just totally don't get this game. But in the right group,
I'm thinking of my family.
A blast.
I don't think my wife would enjoy. I think she would be too stressed out.
Yeah.
Not that she's incapable of coming up with those things, but I think she would just be too stressed out, and I don't know what question to ask. What do you do?
Yeah.
I don't think she'd have fun with it.
Exactly. Yeah, I agree. It takes the right group, but with the right group, it is a ton of fun. Lots of fun.
Okay. Jeremiah, here's my question for you.
All right, let's
the
fill in
last
blank.
fill in the blank.
All right.
The game I would put on my Christmas list, or the game you would put on your Christmas list right now, is blank.
Is Proheis.
Proheis.
Yes. Proheis is being published by Blue Orange Games.
I like those guys.
Yeah,
and girls probably.
Yeah, I think they're actually. I think I emailed with a girl from there. Anyway, but they released it at Origins. It's one of the ones I didn't talk about earlier. And I was actually going to go buy it because they were selling it for like $10 at the con. And literally, I went back and they were gone. They had no more. I don't know if that was just their convention stock or like their entire stock, but Prohis is a little bit. It's more of a bit of a social deduction kind of bluffing game, but basically it takes place in Prohibition, and you're trying to run trucks past Prohis or inspectors. And so you put down a certain number, I think it's between 3 and 5 or 3 and 6 cards that are trucks. And some of them can be legit, like cargo or whatever, and some of them can be Prohibition booze. And the other players at the table get to play inspectors and inspect a certain amount of your convoy that you're trying to get through. But you can also bribe them by giving them points, or, as they explained to me, even real life bets or bribes, like, hey, I'll do your dishes if you don't inspect my convoy. So it looked like super lightweight, like the cards weren't meaty or anything. There were trucks that were either legit or they were contraband, and then there were certain points for the contraband that you get, and then there were inspectors that give you the ability to search a certain amount of vehicles and so forth. And the game it was really simple and clean like that, but it looked like it was a lot of fun, like a lot of meta games going on within it. So I really want to get a hold of a copy of it for sure.
That sounds a lot like Sheriff of Nottingham.
Yeah, it was compared to that a lot. Everybody says it's a very streamlined, quick-playing Sheriff of Nottingham.
Okay.
So,
I mean, it sounds a lot like it.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Well, Longhorn is a streamlined, quick-playing version of Five Tribes.
Ah, there you go.
Same designer.
Yes.
And I don't know if Prohis is the same designer as Sheriff of Nottingham, but so I think Blue Orange is known for taking these games and going, oh, what if we make a faster, cheaper, smaller version of this other game?
Yeah, and Longhorn was great too. I really enjoyed that.
Yeah.
So,
cool.
Yeah, you never know. So, the game you would put on your Christmas list right now is...
I'm actually not sure it's going to be out by Christmas, but I think I read somewhere that it's out now, so it would make sense to put it on there. And that is Pandemic Legacy.
Oh, boy.
So this is Rob Davio, who created Risk Legacy.
Uh-huh.
He was doing a game called Seafall, still is, as far as I know. But he put the brakes on that when he was approached by Matt Leacock, apparently. And so they are together creating a pandemic game that has legacy aspects. So it could be that in the course of your game, Africa is just wiped off the map because of this disease. And that will continue forward throughout the rest of the games.
Nice.
And how will that affect things?
Right.
So I don't know how many games you get out of the box. I think with Risk Legacy you got like 15 or 16 games.
Nice.
That was the whole campaign.
Right.
So I don't know how many are in this, but every decision you make is going to have permanent repercussions for the entire game and the entire campaign.
That sounds
so fun.
Yeah, that sounds pretty outstanding.
So that's and until I hear, if I hear for some reason that's terrible, I can't imagine it would be.
Right.
But that is what it would be on my Christmas list.
Excellent. Yeah, that sounds fun. Maybe I'll put it on my Christmas list too.
I know guys in the group who will probably buy their own copy, so then I can play theirs, mess things up, and
right, experiment
and then I'll buy my
on
own
theirs
copy from my own family. Yeah,
absolutely.
So we'll see.
There you go. Just go totally rogue.
Well, not mess it up, but I just meant like, I'll play in their world and see what happens, and then buy my own copy. I didn't mean mess it up.
Or totally mess up.
No. If those guys are listening, they're not going to let me play.
Oh. I mean, have fun and play.
Right.
And
in the course of the rules.
And see what happens.
Right.
When you go totally rogue.
I will not.
Anyway. Let's move on to our last topic of the show. or the podcast or the episode.
Yeah, this is kind of a biggie for us.
Yeah. Do you want to say it, or do I?
Sure. We have come to the decision that, for the most part, we are no longer going to do Kickstarter previews.
What?
I know, this is a big deal.
It is.
But we feel like we have good reasons for this. And we'll talk about those now.
Yes, let's.
One of those reasons was the time. So it takes a long time to write these reviews, to play the games sufficiently to be able to write reviews. And with Kickstarter games, there are all these other factors that are speaking into that. So they often have a timeline. Hey, I want to launch this game by X date. So I'm going to send it to you, hopefully in time to do
and
that,
you'll
but
have,
oftentimes not.
You'll have 5 days
Right.
with the game before it launches. No.
I assume
Sometimes
you have nothing else in your life.
Sometimes it's that tight. Other times it's not. But there is a hard, definite timeline to a preview.
Right, so that creates pressure toward the end because life interferes, and so you go, oh no, I haven't been able to play that game yet. And so then you're stressed out.
Yes.
And I know they're stressed out because they're emailing me every day, hey, we're on track, how's that coming? And so we get stressed out, and it just creates tension and that aspect, and it's not their fault necessarily, but it can suck some of the fun out of playing the game because now it's like a job.
Yes.
Oh, we got to get this thing done by this date. And so the timeliness of it is one thing, but then also some people, certainly not naming names, but some people would be very demanding.
Yes.
With what they wanted. And oh, you need to change this, and you need to do this, and why didn't you say that? And I don't think he liked it as much as he should have. And they're usually talking about me. But
that's true. But
I don't have any obligation to like your game. For one thing.
And let me tell you another thing.
Well, I mean, we never got paid for any of the games. The only thing we said was, hey, if this thing funds, we would love real copies of this game. But we never took a dime for a preview.
That is true.
So, I'm doing this on my own time. And I'm doing it for a game that may not ever see the light of day.
Yeah.
So it could be that I'm getting nothing out of this, but maybe some hits on our website.
Maybe.
So we spend all the time and go through the headache and the timeline and the demands and the da-da-da. And then what if that thing doesn't fund? Or sometimes it would fund, and the people would just blow us off when we asked for those copies later.
It's true. It happens. And I think we kind of touched on that when we talked about doing how it's been so long since we did the podcast. We are 2 guys, and we're trying to keep our website running, and it's a labor of love, but when it's more labor and less love, because of timelines and demands and so on and so forth, it makes it a chore. It makes it a job. And sure, if we want to be successful with what we're doing and we're trying to do our best, but when something we love is becoming a dread for us almost at times, when I have to play this game, and then I'm bothering my friends and saying, look, I know you don't want to play another prototype, but I have to play this. And my friends have been really gracious and really, really understanding for the most part. Like, hey, I got to play this prototype. Can we get this on the table and run through it a few times? But, it's draining on my friendships. It's draining on my relationships. So, like you said, for the most part, we have stopped accepting previews for Kickstarter projects and prototypes. That doesn't mean we will never do them. That doesn't mean we will not listen to your pitch to us if you want to send us an email or contact us in some way. It just means don't be surprised, nor should you be offended if we say, look, we just can't do it. Because it's either we charge a lot of money so that we're at least getting something out of the deal, or we put ourselves under great intense pressure to get things done, and we just felt we've got enough review content and games that we're already backlogged on. So we felt it was just in the best interest for us and our families and the site and everything if we kind of hold off on doing a large amount of Kickstarter previews. So that'll be something that you'll see kind of slowly filtering out, if you probably haven't already noticed on the site. But that doesn't mean you won't see them at all. It'll just be a lot fewer.
Yeah, we liked doing them, but like we said, they were tough, and it would be really frustrating when we would do one and then the people would go, you know what, we're gonna have to wait, or we're not gonna launch, or
yeah.
What do you mean you're not?
Yeah, that happened
really hard, and
that happened a lot. Where, and we're not unsympathetic. Like, we understand. Like, oh man, you've been working on this game and you're not gonna launch it. You're still waiting, or it didn't fund. You worked really hard and your game didn't fund, or for whatever reason. Like, we feel bad about that too, but at the same time, like we said, we didn't get anything out of it, and we are trying to contribute to the gaming community, but we would put in a ton of time into doing a review, and then somebody just pulls out and says, well, we're going to wait, or it didn't fund, and that's happened multiple times. It's not like, oh, well, this one time,
right,
this game, these people didn't launch it. No, it happens more often than you would think. So,
and when they cancel it, then we don't even get,
right.
At least
we don't get our end of the deal, which was the finished version. So,
right, we don't get the hits on the website because then we don't publish. I mean, if they go, well, we're not going to launch, well, we don't publish it, obviously.
Right.
So we don't even get, hey, here's a day's worth of traffic on our site.
Yeah, we don't even get that out of it. Yeah, and I blew off hanging out with my kids and my wife to play a game that never saw the light of day. So not that it's that
you
drastic,
can still pitch to us.
Yes.
And if we have a relationship with you, Jamie Stegmeyer, I'm telling you right now, you have a carte blanche. You are, a friend of the show, and Jamie Stegmeyer is a friend. And so if he wants to launch a Kickstarter, we will play any game he wants.
And Michael Coe and Jason Kotarski, there's a good handful of people that we've built a really great relationship with. And they also, not only that, they have a great track record for getting games to market, for coming through on their promise to us to hold up their end of the deal. So, yeah, does it make it a little harder for somebody that's launching their first game to get in with us? Yes, but we're just trying to protect our time so that we can make the site and the podcast and everything that we do the best that it can be, and really inform our readers of what's going on.
And we are sympathetic to people who are trying to launch a Kickstarter. It is an uphill battle, and one of the things we tell people is, hey, you need to build this base, and you need to get people behind your game. But unless your game is just going to be a blockbuster, and we can probably tell. So unless that's going to happen, we're probably going to say no, because we just can't. We just have to draw a line in the sand somewhere. If you are successful and if you fund or get it through a publisher or whatever, we would be happy to look at the finished product.
Absolutely.
We will continue reviewing finished games until we shut the doors.
Yes.
Because finished games are a totally different animal.
Absolutely.
They are out there. They are not going to get canceled. They are, and again, we're not asking for a dime to review the game.
And there's no hard timeline. There's no,
right.
It's a completely different game. Or
there's no pressure on us to get this out. We can just play the game, have fun, write the review.
Yeah.
Everybody's happy.
Yep. So I know it may sound cold, it may sound callous, but it's just a function of how the site has been played out for us and how things are going. So it may change in the future. We may bring on a bunch of writers, and we have a prototype division and a team that does all of that. But for now, we're kind of pulling back on the reins a little bit and contributing and concentrating as best we can on finished product and finished games.
So send us your finished games. We'll be happy to play them.
More than happy.
Yeah. So that's the big news, and wow, we are almost exactly at an hour, just a little bit over.
So perfect.
That's what we want to keep it at.
So I don't think we have anything else to cover. Please follow us on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook. Sign up for our email newsletter on theologyofgames.com. And please fill in your blanks for our fill in the blanks section. The best game you discovered this summer was, if you had to stick with only one LCG from now on, it would be, and the game I would put on my Christmas list right now is blank. Tweet those out at us. Comment somewhere on our blog. We'll have a page up for this episode. We'd love to hear from you. Love to see what games are sticking with you, what LCGs are really hot with you right now, and you would want to play till the end of time. And if you have any questions, by all means, hit us up, and we'd love to interact with you.
And thanks for listening to the podcast. And we will, like I said, be way diligent about getting back into a regular routine with these. And we appreciate you being patient with us.
Yes, it's been fun to get back into it, and hopefully we will be back with another one very, very soon.
Till then, I'm Scott Firestone.
And I am Jeremiah Isley.
Talk to you later.
We'll see ya.
You've been listening to the Theology of Games podcast with Jeremiah Isley and Scott Firestone. If you enjoyed this episode, we'd appreciate your subscription to the podcast and your review on iTunes. Thanks for listening. Have a blessed day, and until next time, get a game on the table.
Once a year like clockwork.